Section 6 here, we're going to look at another method for solving quadratic equations. Namely, we're going to look at using the quadratic formula. And I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with this, but obviously we're still going to go through and look at a few examples just in case. So as you're going through here, the first thing you have to know is that you have to memorize the formula. Okay, the quadratic formula simply says x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Okay, I'm going to cross out this word should, and I'm going to say you must memorize this formula. Okay, so how do I use this quadratic formula here when solving for some equations? Well, if I get an equation like this here in example 1 and I want to solve that, we have a variety of methods now, but this method in particular, first we have to identify a, b, and c as they will be used in our formula. So a here is the guy in front of the x squared, your b is the guy in front of the x, and your c is your constant. Okay, and so now all you do is you have your formula x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. And then you just plug in your variables. The opposite of b, the opposite of 5 is negative 5, plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times a is 3. I'm running out of room here, I apologize. And c is negative 8. All of that divided by 2 times 3. And now at this point, you can grab a calculator, do whatever you want, but essentially you have negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared is 25, so I have 25 minus 25 minus, let's see here, minus, so I have 4 times 3, which is 12. 12 times negative 8 is negative 96, so positive 96, all of that divided by 6. And then when I plug all of this into my calculator, you're going to get some random answer, some decimals. Okay, so for these, a lot of times you're going to end up with decimals. Okay, as a matter of fact, if I do this, I'll just finish this one out. So I have negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 96 and 25. That's 121 divided by 6. Well, we know what the square root of 121 is, so I have negative 5 plus or minus 11 divided by 6. Okay, so then you have two answers here. Okay, coming back up here. Negative 5 plus 11 is 6. 6 over 6 is 1. Okay, negative 5 minus 11 is negative 16. So then your second answer is negative 16 over 6, which really we should rewrite as negative, was that going to be 8 over 3? Again, if you want to grab a decimal, you could. That's fine. So again, that's how we're going to use the quadratic formula here. Okay, identify your a, b, and c, and then just start rolling. So we'll do a couple more here. Let me just erase this, get this out of our way. So if I look at the second guy here, again, we're going to solve using the quadratic formula. So I have to identify my a, my b, and my c. A is 6, b is 13, and your c. Now, first you have to get this guy. You have to get it set equal to 0. So 6x squared, 6x squared plus 13x, and we have to get the 5 to the other side, so minus 5 equals 0. So now you know your c here is negative 5, not positive 5. So then you have x equals the opposite of b, so negative 13 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 5, all of that divided by 2 times 6. Alright, and so I have negative 13 plus or minus the square root. 13 squared is 169 minus, let's see here, 4 times 6 is 24. 24 times 5, that's going to be negative 120, so positive 120, all divided by 12. Let's see here, 169, that's, what's that going to be? That's going to be 289. Okay, so what we have here now is I'm just going step by step here. Okay, it becomes this simplifying. Okay, it's nothing more than just simplifying the equation right now. All right, so I end up at negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 289 divided by 12. Okay, and again, if you had a calculator, you'd know that the square root of 289 is 17. So really, we have negative 13 plus or minus 17 divided by 12. All right, so your two solutions, I'm going to come back over here, I'm going to rewrite them here. You have negative 13 plus 12, which is negative 1, so you have negative 1 over 12. Or your second solution would be negative 13, I'm sorry, I goofed that up. Negative 13 plus 17. Negative 13 plus 17. Let me erase this for a second. Okay, let's go back over here real quick. So negative 13 plus 17, that's 4 over 12. So 4 over 12 is 1/3. And then I have negative 13 minus 17, that's negative 30, and negative 30 over 12 is the same thing as saying negative 5 halves. Okay, and again, you could use decimals if you prefer. All right, I'm going to let you guys go ahead and work through 3, 4, and 5 on your own. Again, still the same idea. Just identify A, B, and C, plug it into the quadratic formula. All right. The last thing, just a quick review now. So far in this chapter, we've looked at solving quadratics. Okay, we graphed it first, now we're solving. So we can solve using 4 different methods here that are obviously indicated at the top there. Factor, you can find square roots, you can use completing the square, you can use the quadratic formula. So the whole idea here is that you have a variety of methods now, none of which are necessarily right or wrong. It's just a matter of identifying which one's going to be most efficient. For instance, if I look at the second example down here, personally what I would do, let's just look at this. We really have a couple different ways we could do this. One person might say, okay, I'm going to add 9 to both sides and get x squared equals 9, and then take the square root. So x is positive, whoops, goof that up. X is positive or negative 3. Someone else might say, well, that factors easily. That's x plus 3 times x minus 3 equals 0. So x plus 3 equals 0. So x equals 3 or negative 3. Okay, you'll notice someone else might have used the quadratic formula. If you don't see the bx, then you know the b is 0. Okay, so someone else might have said, okay, the opposite of 0 plus or minus the square root of 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 9 divided by 2 times 1. All right, and then they might use that. So the whole idea here is that no matter what method you use, you're going to come up with the same solutions. So really, the practice that you have to get good at here between, obviously tomorrow's lesson and then as we review some of these methods is just identifying which one might be the most efficient way for solving a quadratic. So again, as long as you know those 4 methods, you're going to be fine. No worries. And as always, bring any questions you have to class, and we will start with those.